In the last video, we talked about the Perservation class being a roster of characters that I wasn't really interested in covering. Maybe March 7th is kind of cool with the fact that she has like a built-in counter, but other than that, it's not really that interesting. And only because we all know that they just shield at their core. They provide shields for the team. But some go further than that, and it took me reading a comment to understand that the Perservation does more than just provide shields for the team. I also found out that Xuan was a character that existed. Now, if you remember, me and Xuan, we go way back. Little did I know that this character is going to play an important role for the Perservation class going forward. Let me explain. Now, a character like Jeopard is very interesting because he does have higher taunt values in the game compared to other characters, and that's Perservation as a whole. But being able to have said higher taunt value means that he will be getting attacked by the boss enemies much more, which will matter and some team comps will explain later in the video. He has the strongest shield in the game, being able to put a shield on the allies that is equal to a percentage of his defense, plus a flat amount that is a massive portion, is going to make the shield for all allies much stronger, and the fact that it lasts for 3 turns is very valuable. He does also have a freeze, so you are able to freeze the enemy, which is very good, considering, well, that's less damage your team will be taking if the enemy is frozen. Jeopard's attack increasing based on the percentage of his defense is very valuable if you're planning to use him with, more damage. But for most players, this probably doesn't matter at all, depending on how you build the character. Now, the interesting thing about Jeopard, which makes him very unique compared to other characters in the Perservation roster, is that whenever he's attacked or hit with a killing blow, so meaning a hit resulting in his death, he will revive essentially and restore a max portion of his HP, and then he will automatically fill his ultimate energy to 100%, which is going to allow you to get another full team shield. Very nice for a character that wants to constantly provide shields for the team. So with him being a very self-sufficient shielder in the game, and with him being a character with higher taunt values, you will find a ton of value for using this character in your team comps with certain hunt characters. And the reason why I say certain hunt characters is because hunt characters have a lower taunt value than a character like Jeopard. So if Jeopard has a higher taunt value and a character like Seal has a lower taunt value, you will find a lot more value pairing these two characters together. And the same goes with Yang Qing. Now, the real honest truth is if you do not have Jeopard, you probably are using March 7th in some way, shape, or form. Most free-to-play could probably relate to that. She's a very good character, though. No joke. She gives a very strong one-man shield, which is very good. When you start the battle, she does give an additional shield if you do have one of her Eidolons unlocked. And with her being a free character you get in the game, and her having a recent appearance on Jing Wang's banner, maybe you have a couple of copies for said character. Maybe you don't. But if you do, and maybe you got lucky getting her from the standard banner, then you were presented with a very valuable 4-star character. And I mean, can you really resist the eyes of this character? A shield equal to 45% of March 7's defense, plus a flat amount for 3 turns is really valuable, considering this is a high number for a shield that can soak a lot of damage. Now, however, whenever you do put this on the ally, you have to keep in mind this is going to give the ally you put the shield on a higher taunt value. She can also remove a debuff when using her skill, so think of it like Bronya's elemental skill. You essentially remove a debuff before you then place the shield on the ally. So she's very valuable in an ice composition with a character like Pela, Yang Qing, and so on and so forth, even Silverwolf now. And her ultimate does have a base chance to freeze all of the enemies that are hit by it, which is very nice. Freeze is a very powerful weakness break effect because you're able to delay the enemy's action, right? And they're not able to move. They're not able to attack. They're not able to do literally anything, which is very good. The best thing about March 7th is that whenever she puts the shield on an ally, that ally will have higher taunt values. And I think being able to give that ally higher taunt values will matter in some cases. A lot of you are familiar with the value she provides in a team composition with Clara. And that is no joke. Allowing Clara to take most of the hits and have a very strong tanky shield, and if you have some of her constellations, you're able to then heal the ally, remove a debuff from the ally, you are presented with a very strong wombo combo. Let's say you use March 7th as your sole defensive option in your team comp, a full mono ice team with Silverwolf, and you use March 7th. You'll find a ton of value using the character as a defensive option with just putting the shield on herself with your Yang Qing, because she will take all the hits and then Yang Qing will effectively take none of the hits because of his lower taunt value and March 7's higher taunt value, while also being able to keep Yang Qing in check with his RNG mechanic with his elemental skill. If you did not know, you don't want the character to ever get hit because you will make the passive go away. And now the Trailblazer is a very nice defensive option at that. You have a character with a very nice, decent shield. He's really good in the simulated universe. He or she, depending on which one you have, of course, is very good in the simulated universe. A very strong option at that. And I'm sure whenever we get World 5 or World 7 at some point, I'm sure we'll probably get World 7. Whenever we get that, you will have a stronger character for your World 7 runs. And whenever you tackle higher difficulties anyways, you will find a lot of value using your Trailblaze main character and your Perservation paths when you do Simulated Universe. Now, aside from that, you can use this character in Forgotten Hall. He does have value, he or she has value there, but you don't have it as such strong as a shield as you would have on a character like Jeopard or March 7th that they provide for the team. Whenever you have a shield on your ally, it's going to be very important so that you make sure they take as least damage as possible. And being able to reduce the damage they take whenever you use your elemental skill is going to be very valuable. The elemental skill allows the Trailblaze main character to take all the aggro for all the enemies that are hit with the taunt, which is going to be very valuable considering you get a damage reduction right here, which makes sure that the Trailblaze main character doesn't get one tapped. And you also do have the built-in 15% reduction here, which adds on top of the reduction you have from your skill. And you in turn have a frontline tank that will take all the aggro away from your DPS characters like Yang Qing, for instance, that never wants to get hit by the enemy, and all of your squishy characters like Ting Yun, for example. Now, we understand that all of the Perservation characters provide value for your team comps in some way, shape, or form, and that's why you probably find yourself using these characters at some point in the game. They do have a lot of value in the harder contents in the game, especially if you don't have some healers, some cleansers, or just anyone overall to soak the damage and be a higher taunt value in your team comps. Now, she will provide a lot of value in the future for, let's just say, a quantum team comp with like QQ, Seal, Fuan, and then Silverwolf, of course. But if you're not planning to use her in a full quantum team, you probably will find a lot of value with her being Perservation. And since she is a part of that roster of characters, and this is confirmed at this point, we understand that this character, it says to be confirmed, but she's probably not going to be changed much from what she currently is. And with her being Perservation, we understand that she probably will provide the team with some way, shape, or form utility in the form of shields. Being able to provide shields as part of being the Perservation is going to be very valuable with that for the team comp overall. And with her being a defensive option and her being a limited character, we can assume she's probably going to have the limited character strength. And what do I mean by limited character strength? Every single limited character so far has been really good. Way better than the options we already have for in terms of standard. So if we take a character like Luwacha, for example, he's going to be better than Natasha, Bailu in most situations. Although it doesn't really justify you going for the character, just for them being better than the other options, because the other options are still pretty good in what they do. But then we have a character like Fuan, who probably will fill in the role of a character like Jeopard and March 7th. So maybe Fuan will be a better option than those characters to justify her being a limited Perservation character. Because you don't necessarily have to use her in solo quantum teams, is the looks of what it's going to be like. But the reason why Fuan being a quantum character and a Perservation character that is very appealing to me is because of what she will be providing for team comps overall. We understand that we do have a lot of characters right now, Jeopard, the Trailblaze main character in March 7th, that do provide shields for the team, but that's kind of all they do for the most part. We don't have any characters that can kind of, let's just say, heal and shield at the same time, which would be very nice. I think having a healer and shielder would power creep the current roster of Perservation characters we have now, and in turn make a better Perservation character overall. I read a comment in the last video, and the person mentioned characters double dipping essentially into other paths in the game is going to essentially have characters that make the game much more creative in the sense of designing team comps. And I do agree with that to an extent. Having a character like Fuan essentially double dip into not only being a Perservation character, but also an abundance character, and let's just say maybe she provides healing in some way, shape, or form to herself or maybe the team. So maybe being a self-sufficient healer, shielder, or just being a sufficient shielder and healer for the team is going to make her a very valuable character at that. Now, maybe that's her kit or maybe that's not, but it's just something I want to take a guess at. You probably will find a lot of value in having 2 shielding options. Maybe let's just say you don't have another healer, you don't go for Luancha, and maybe you find value in a character like Xuan, who will probably be a very nice Perservation character for your teams. Having Perservation allows you to not necessarily bring a healer because they provide value for the team in terms of shielding, higher taunt values, so you have a very nice comp of, let's just say, you can have Jeopard, you have Seal, you can maybe bring your Bronya, and then maybe your Silverwolf if you wanted. You have a very nice defensive option. You have your Silverwolf to be able to put debuffs on the enemy, shred the enemy, allow your Seal to do much more damage. You have Bronya to then buff your shield. So this could be a very solid hyper carry team without necessarily needing a healer option like Bailu, for example. And overall, I think that Perservation characters and Hunt characters have very nice synergy overall because of the taunt value system in the game. There you have it. The Perservation seems like they're going to be a very nice cast of characters to have on your account long term. Being able to provide shields for the team overall is going to be very valuable. Now, where it stands currently for the future of this roster of characters, we understand that a character like Xuan has to prove herself to be valuable in order to be summonable for many players. Her being a limited character essentially means she has to be better than the current existing Perservation characters. We all know that. I know it, you know it. That's part of the reason why Silverwolf is as strong as she is. And just from inferration, and that's not a word, just from inferring overall what the Perservation provides for teams right now, and what Xuan could provide for teams to make her better than current existing Perservation characters, maybe being able to heal and shield at the same time would be very nice. And maybe do more damage would be pretty cool too, because, the ones we have now don't really do much damage. Let's just say that. I stream daily on Twitch, twitch.tv/Toshio. The link will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and have a nice rest of your day. Peace.